Welcome to 97 and Up. If you're watching this video, it's because you've just joined and I linked you to this, or maybe you stumbled on this because I've purposely made this public and put it out there on the web as another way that people can get a preview of what this program is about. It's a robust program, but I built this with a lot of structure and intention. So I built this member guide now because I realized people weren't quite getting it, and I realized it was because I wasn't communicating it effectively. So this is me communicating effectively with video, which is of course one of the things I do best. So there's a few components to this program. The program was built, the foundation of this program was built around a course whose outline I wrote a couple of years back, and it's evolved somewhat since I originally wrote it. But the idea was I wanted to go out and build and run and grow my own consulting practice. Up until then I was mostly doing training, picking up consulting clients along the way, as is often organic in the process of training people. Eventually they'll ask you, can you just do it for me? But now I wanted to make a specific effort, an intentional effort at building a consulting business. I wanted to document the journey and take people along for the ride for 97 bucks a month. And that's what 97 and Up is. And that's where the program came from. We started doing it on Patreon, where there were different levels, and I had for 25 and up, you get these benefits, and for 97 and up, you get access to this course and this whole thing. Moved it over to the site here at nerdenterprises.com. And there's a few basic things that you'll need to understand to get started so that you don't get lost in the mix of all the stuff that we offer here. The main thing is the main course, and you'll see a section here in this member guide called the main course. And that's the course that I wrote, the one I was just referring to. And it's important that you go through the outline so you understand the structure of this course. It was designed for you to take it one lesson per day. And my plan is still to have it when it's complete, and it's not yet, but when it's complete, it'll be 97 lessons. So you do a lesson a day for 97 days, and you're paying 97 bucks a month. Not that any of that matters. The idea is also for you to stay as long as you want to stay, because your business doesn't end at the end of that process, so why should this program? I wanted to make sure that I could build something that would serve as an ongoing support resource for you, and that's what this is meant to be. So we have the course. You should definitely start right away doing the course. Do one lesson per day. That's how it was designed to be absorbed. In the second lesson, you'll get the goals template. There's a good chance you've heard of or seen that template, and you might be excited to get into it, but don't go ahead. I talked to one of our longtime members recently who was telling me that they were confused because they were trying to go back and see which lesson is it that I need to know how to do this part. And that was exactly backwards. It's designed for you to go through the lessons, and the lessons will guide you through the parts of the template where and when appropriate. And it's all set up in a certain order for a very particular reason. So that's the course. That's really where your main focus should be when you're starting out. Next, we have the weekly calls. As of the time of this recording, they have always been up until now and will continue to be for the foreseeable future every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific, which is 12:12 p.m. Eastern. Every one of these calls is recorded. If you can't make it at that time, you can access the recordings afterwards. Next, we have Slack, which is where we communicate privately just among ourselves. And I'm fortunate to have some of the most amazing group members who, without me having to do a thing, they will grab you when you're new and hold you by the hand if I don't get the chance to before they do, and walk you through anything you need to know. Slack is the other key to this whole program. It's where the conversation goes on 24/7, 365. So it's really important that you get into that Slack team. I know that some of you are not familiar with Slack, but it's something I'm also going to encourage you to use in your practice. So one way or another, you've got to get into Slack. It's really important. Speaking of, as of the time of this recording, I'm also in the process, like probably weeks away from publishing a whole post on the Firm of the Future website from Intuit on how to use Slack for your accounting practice. So again, just more sort of fuel for that fire. And I want to encourage you, when you first sign in, you're going to be signed in on your web browser. You definitely want to download the apps both for your mobile device and for your desktop. It's just a much better experience. And especially if you start using Slack in other areas where you're logged into multiple Slack workspaces, you definitely want the app. You definitely don't want to have a different tab open for each workspace in Slack that you're logged into. It's just a better experience. So you'll see the Slack section right here in this member guide. And in there, I'm going to have a video that gives you a little bit of a deep dive into the Slack mobile app as well as the Slack desktop app, and specifically how we use it here in 97 and Up, how to navigate the channels, and you'll understand what all that means once you've seen that video. But for now, I want you to start with the course and go through this member guide. I've put some videos, I'm putting videos in this member guide, and it's a live member guide, which means I'll add to it. As I see that there's more areas or something else that people are consistently confused about, I'll add something in here to address that concern. So make sure that you bookmark the link to this member guide. Don't lose it. Of course, if you do lose it, you can always ask me and I'll be happy to send it to you. But the point being, you really should have it bookmarked somewhere so that you can refer back to it. My expectation is, especially in the beginning, you want to refer back to it often because it's going to have the answers to a lot of the questions you're going to have, right? And I get it. We're all in such a rush to do everything that we're doing that we don't stop to read. I literally had one of our newer members recently reply to an email that I had sent. I also send emails each week. And the person replied to an email that I had sent, which had the information for exactly how to log into our call. She replied and said, "How do I access the call?" So it was obvious she didn't read the email, and I get it, and I wasn't going to slam her for it. Of course, I just resent the information. But my point is, if you slow down, take a breath, right, and just go through this stuff comprehensively, slowly, you're paying for it. You want to get the most out of what you've paid for. So take a deep breath, take it nice and slow, and plan on going through this course in that kind of manner. If you go through something like this too fast, you're going to miss a lot, right? Take your time, be kind to yourself, take your time, go through it slowly, go through it comprehensively, and there's a huge resource inside of Slack, not just from me, but from the other members of the group, where you can easily ask questions and get answers. So, of course, if you have any questions, reach out to me, but take a look around this guide. It should give you everything you need to know to access everything there is to access in this program.